Hey mamas, it's Kristen Noel from the Intuitive Divorce popping in here with my beautiful team member and master coach, Joe Young. And we are just popping in with our after class musings, which are our favorite thing to do because it's just like, where do we even start? So juicy, so powerful, so inspiring, and it really reiterated before we even dive into the topic that we were talking about today. It really reiterated for me how we say over and over that the skills that we are really going through and imparting in this class and in this course are not just divorce skills. These are life skills that really transform how you experience adversity and bumps in the road. I think I even just had a little humble pie today when I started class, and I said, you know what? I had to catch myself this afternoon and walk the walk, not just talk the talk, because life will throw you curveballs and something's going to set you off or trigger you or just knock you off your feet. And you get to decide how you're responding to it, what you're going to do with it, how you're going to move through it. And first and foremost, I am so grateful for all the skills that you have imparted upon me and all the women in our program about regulating our nervous systems and how we get back in our body, how we can just feel safe and allow our feelings so that we can deal with what's going on, whatever it is, right? Whatever is unfolding in the moment.
Yeah.
It's a game changer.
There's a lot going on right now for lots of people everywhere.
Yeah.
And then you throw divorce in the mix, right? And it's you can feel like you're in a snow globe, which is what we're talking about looks like outside today.
I really was in a snow globe today. Yeah.
Yeah. You can feel like you're being tossed around. So being able to find a place of center and gravity is everything because it allows you to stand on your own 2 feet. It allows you to get back upright and to stand tall and to make the decisions and respond in ways that you can be really proud of. And I know I'm jumping ahead here, but it's so interesting. And we're going to talk about what the topic was for today. But the class ended up transitioning into really people allowing themselves to be where they were and admitting how they were feeling and how to transition that. And it's no different than what you're just saying, right? We can feel like we're in a snow globe sometimes, but how do we respond to that? What are some ways that we can ground ourselves, even in the middle of all the topsy-turvy and all the ways that our lives can feel so out of control, and take the things that we do have control over and to do something with those? Yeah.
Yeah. And what's so beautiful about this sacred, I always call it our sacred container, but women are jumping through hoops to be there. They've got a lot on their plate. They're mothers, they've got careers, they've got households, they've got a divorce, they've got a lot going on. But you know what? And as we say all the time, there's still all those in-between moments. And there's still all of this opportunity for feeling feelings and healing. Because, by the way, the feelings are going to come up. The feelings are there. That's not a surprise. But it's like, what are we going to do with them? What are we going to do with those feelings? How are we going to create some space for ourselves? How are we not going to muscle ourselves out of the equation, even when it looks like there's not room for one more thing? So we were talking last week about how we had given a prompt for our mamas about writing down a little statement or a little response to the question, how do you want life to look and feel in 3 months? And we knew that it wasn't going to be easy, even though that's a simple question. It's because mamas have shoved their needs, wants, desires to the side, put it, or the bottom of the laundry basket, whatever it is. So we're constantly kind of nudging them and creating this space for them to, yes, in the middle of divorce, yes, in the middle of the stress, yes, in the middle of all the feelings, to contemplate, where do I want to be in 3 months? And, we can unpack the importance of that. But what we dove into today was really questioning them about being real about what came up. And Joe loves to talk about this topic, but we did a whole workshop on fear and resistance. And boy, oh boy, there's a lot of fear and resistance that comes up when you're in divorce or when you ask a mama what she wants, how she wants
Or
to feel.
honestly, just showing up in the world today,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of fear and resistance that are coming up. So it's such an important topic and one that I'm ha- so passionate about because personally, fear and resistance kept me from living this rich, juicy life that I knew that I was meant to live. I just knew it, that I deserved so much more than what I was allowing for myself because I was allowing fear and resistance to keep me stuck. And so once I learned how to use fear and resistance in my favor to motivate me, to encourage me, and I got to see it for what it is, it was such a game changer. So I'm so passionate about sharing it with as many people as I can because it truly is the way to shift your experience of your everyday life. And, you know, we used this exercise that we asked these two questions to say, what came up for you when you were tasked with focusing on yourself? Was it easy? Was it difficult? What came up? You know, we had all kinds of words that populated. And you asked them, you know, fear, what are you afraid of? And to simply give those things a voice, give them air, bring them out into the consciousness is huge because we keep those things so protected and contained. And when we do that, they control us. So even just admitting out loud for some of these mamas, brave mamas, what they were scared of, it was like all of a sudden you could look at it and go, okay, fear, put it on the table. So let's talk about it. Fear, let's talk about where the fear is coming from. Let's talk about how to use your fear around that to keep you moving forward and not allow it to keep you stuck. Because fear, we can always choose to stay more committed to staying in fear than just taking a step towards how we want to feel. And it really is a choice once you put it on the table.
I want to read that quote, right? I guess I've already closed that window. So it was just that quote about what we are committed to and getting clear about what we are committed to. And at the end of the day, what it really boils down to is this awareness. You don't have to solve any problem in the moment, in the heat of the moment, but you can interrupt it. You can interrupt the thought process. Like start to just be aware. Like, oh, this happened. And then that triggers what? What comes up for me? What am I feeling? What is that fear? What is that resistance? Where have I felt that before? What is that attached to? Where does that lead me? Where does that lead me that I don't want to go? And by the way, not feeling the feelings doesn't make it better. Doesn't make it go away. Doesn't change anything. It actually grows larger and its hold on you is even more intense.
This little tiny thing can become this huge monster under the bed.
Right.
Just simply because we haven't paid attention to the little tiny thing. And it's like we were saying today, if you try to push your fear aside, if you try to ignore it, if you try to muscle through it, feel the fear and do it anyway, overcome your fear, all the things that we've heard, guess what happens? Fear just gets louder, louder, and louder. So what do we do when fear and resistance show up? And we were able to give some really good tactical steps today around, listen, you're in change. You are in growth mode. You are recognizing that things that are happening in your life aren't working for you anymore. And what happens is that automatically means that fear is going to show up. Because fear's job is to keep us safe. And it thinks what is familiar is safe. Right? It's perceived safety. It's fear's idea of safety. And it's its only job. So when we start to grow and we start to imagine and we start to ask ourselves a simple question, how do we want to feel 3 months from now? Right? The fear sets in. It's like, hold up. She's about to do something we're not familiar with. The fears, literally can picture it that way.
We got to get her back here. We got to get her back here. So we get louder. So she, we got to get her.
Throw out all the self-doubt. I'm going to throw out all the reasons it's not possible. I'm going to throw out all the. And where does that? Most of the time, when we aren't taught differently, we allow that to keep us stuck exactly where we are. Who do I think I am? I don't deserve to live a life different than this. Everybody in my life is going to be upset with me.
It's not that bad.
Yeah. Why can't I just be happy with what I have? All the stories that I don't need to tell the women listening here today, because they're hearing them. Where does that? Simply fear trying to keep you in the familiar. So if you can understand how to let fear be a part of your journey and motivate you instead, so that you don't stay more committed to staying in the fear, and you decide you're going to be more committed to creating this beautiful life that you know you deserve, there are tactical ways that we talk to the mamas about doing that. And where does that? Such a rich, fulfilling, incredible class to watch them. And they made lots of comments today in the chat. And one of
really active.
Was I really love the fact that we've turned this blame, shame into something really beautiful. And it's like, because we always have choice over how we think about things, right? We always have choice over the perspective that we're choosing.
And where we're putting our energy. What are we trying to control? What are we trying to fix? Most of the time, we're trying to control and fix things that aren't ours to control and fix. I absolutely love from week to week. It's so remarkable to see the transformation in the mamas in the group. Where does that? We never know what the timeline's going to be. We never know when it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen because they're showing up. These are fierce mamas who are showing up for themselves, and they're really beginning to understand that this is more than divorce. This is about them. This is about their healing. It's about what they want. It's what they want their future to look and feel like. It's what they want to model for their children. And the quickest way for me to reroute a mama who's in resistance mode is I ask her what she would want for her children.
Where does that?
What would she want to model for them? What would she say to them if they were feeling X, Y, and Z? And that's a quick about face, because we so often sacrifice ourselves and think, oh, I'll get to that later, or whatever. You wouldn't do that to your kids. So I just always ask them, could you harness even just an ounce of that energy? Where does that love and that nurturing and that support for yourself? Because I promise you, when you do, life just gets easier, more peaceful, calmer, just juicier. It really gets juicier. Granted, we're our own full-time job, and there's no expiration date on that. So it's never going to end, but we get to choose and control how we experience life. We don't get to choose everything that gets thrown our way. And that is where, once mamas lean into taking care of themselves, allowing their cups to be filled, allowing themselves to receive, it's a game changer.
Where does that?
Absolute game changer.
Where does that? And I love that you brought in referencing your children. It's a perfect environment for that. And with clients that I work with, I'll say, and if you don't have children, what would you say to your best friend? What would you tell that person? Mm-hmm. And when we asked them in the beginning, what were some things that came up for them as they started to imagine, one of the things was, am I making a mistake? And it's like, isn't that interesting? And when you have that feeling, ask yourself, would I want my child to be in this scenario? Where does that?
Right?
Where does
that is the immediate pivot when we bring their kids in.
That's right, because we're so conditioned to take care of everyone else. We're so programmed as mothers to put our children first and to put all our time and attention there. And yes, it's so important, but it's also equally as important that we treat ourselves the same way, because that's what gets modeled. That's what we want for our children, is for them to grow up and to honor themselves and to trust themselves and to treat themselves so beautifully and to love who they are, because that's what gets projected out in all of their relationships.
Yeah. And, who knew Where does this stuff would come out in divorce?
Where does
Everybody thinks the narrative on the street is, lawyer, financial planner, dividing assets, co-parenting plans. But there's so much that comes up, and there's so much opportunity that you don't want to leave on the table, and so much that can be nurtured and healed and literally transform your life.
Yeah, because when you don't go to those places, what you'll find is that you'll deal with all the stuff, the lawyers, the divorce papers, all the things that have to be dealt with. But if you're not taking the time to heal yourself in the process, you're just going to end up repeating the same patterns again and again and again. And so it's so vital to take this time, this pivotal time, when things feel like they are falling apart. Build yourself back up in a new way? New tools, with new courage, with new ways of approaching things so that you don't have to repeat the same patterns anymore.
It's why this work is just absolutely glorious.
Because mind-blowing.
And mind-blowing, because in this shitstorm of divorce, which is what it is, you can have a space to feel your feelings and to be safe and to have needs and desires and wants and heal and show up as the woman you want to be and a mother you want to be. And these aren't just words. I mean, this to me is really the most powerful piece of the divorce process. And it often gets discarded, but this is definitely the most transformational part of the whole equation.
We talked today a few different ways around the fact that our greatest impact in the world will always be how we are being, how we are showing up. And we made the point, believe us when we say, trying to put on a happy face, if you're trying to make everything status quo when it's really a very dysfunctional relationship, your children feel that. They feel you saying one thing and the feelings underneath it are something completely different. The healing part of this is, I agree, the most important part, because it is how you shift your experience and your children's experience and do generational healing.
That came in today.
Yes, and have the potential to create this incredible, empowering life that you want for yourself.
And to honor the fact that the mamas that come into this program are cycle breakers. They're saying, this ends here. It ends with us. And yeah, it's gorgeous and glorious. And we hope that this message and these musings from today land on your heart in the same way and spark you to know that your feelings and your wants and your desires and your needs are so important. And I'm not just talking about the asset divide and parenting plan, who gets the house and this, that, and the other. I mean, that's all really important. We don't diminish that. This program incorporates tools and strategy, but you know what? At the core of it is you. And how we take care of you and support you is how you are going to be able to make those big decisions. So if you take nothing else from this conversation, show up for yourself and allow yourself to figure out what you need to get through this.
Choose you. One of my
Choose you. It is your favorite saying.
Yeah. Starts with you.
It does.
Everything trickles out from there.
So thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us again, Jo. I love teaching these classes with you. It's just unbelievable. It's like the double whammy.
Ditto. Yeah.
Double whammy mama love. Fierce mama love. So we're sending that out to you in the ethers. And if you are curious about what an intuitive divorce is, you can check out our website, intuitivedivorce.com, and follow us on social media. And over at our website, please sign up for our newsletter and podcast and stay connected with us, because we are constantly putting out so many tips and tools and strategies, and love to support you, because we know this is just one of the most difficult, most painful, most vulnerable, fear-inducing moments of your life, but you don't have to do it alone. So we're sending you love. Check us out, communicate with us, come be a part of the intuitive divorce.
Sending you lots of love.
Lots of love.